Welcome to PCS Reads. I'm Laura Given. On this episode, we welcome cartoonist Alexis Fajardo.
So my name is Alexis Fajardo. I go by Lex, and I'm a cartoonist and the creator of the graphic novel series Kid Beowulf. It's an action-adventure story based on an old epic poem called Beowulf, which was about a big Viking who went around killing monsters. One of the monsters that he killed was named Grendel. It's an old story that they sometimes force you to read in high school or college, and I fell in love with it when I first read it. And when I decided to make comics, I came back to that story. Okay, so there's a scene in book 3, Kid Beowulf and the Rise of El Cid. And El Cid is the name of this knight. His name is Rodrigo Diaz. And El Cid is a name that he's going to be given after all these great deeds. And there's a scene in the book that I like a lot where we sort of do a flashback to when Rodrigo is young. He's like maybe 10 years old. And he's been living on his grandfather's ranch where he's learning how to fence and how to become a good squire. And his father is off fighting for the king of Spain. But his father decides to visit, and he's brought Rodrigo a gift. And it's this beautiful Andalusian horse with a white coat and a flowing mane. And he has the horse has a very proud sort of look to him. And Rodrigo's father has gifted him this horse. But when he brings the horse, he brings another horse along with him, a pack horse. And this horse has got all the gear that his father has got. He's got his, the camping gear and the sword and everything else. And this is kind of like a gray horse, and it's got a black mane, and it's got some spots. And this other horse is just not very impressed with the gifted horse, the white horse. And so Rodrigo, there's a scene where he's been given this horse and he has to name this horse, and he's trying to figure out, well, what great name can I give this proud horse? And he's going through all these different ideas, like, you'll need a strong name, one full of honor, like Peleo the Great. Peleo was a Spanish knight. And then this gray horse just sort of snickers and says, oh, that's a horrible name. And then Rodrigo looks at the gray horse and says, what, no good? And then Rodrigo comes up with another name. I know, Hector. That's a good name. Hector the horse. And then this gray horse just starts to snicker because that's just a silly name. Lo and behold, Rodrigo begins to get into a fight with this gray horse, this pack horse. And he starts calling him names. He starts off calling the gray horse tonta, which means stupid in Spanish. And then the horse kind of huffs back at Rodrigo and blows steam in his hair. And then Rodrigo says, oh, stupido, which means you're stupid. And then that really makes the horse mad, and he yanks Rodrigo up. And then finally, Rodrigo yells out, babieca, which in Spanish means like dullard. Again, it's another word for stupid. So that sends the horse off into a real tirade. And Rodrigo's hanging onto the reins, and he's jostling back and forth. And the horse is just clomping all over the field. And they start tromping around. And meanwhile, the white horse, the horse that Rodrigo is supposed to have, is just kind of standing there wondering what's going on. And Rodrigo and this other horse, the gray horse, are just going crazy all around the ranch until finally Rodrigo gets the horse to stop, and the horse stops short and flings Rodrigo into this big pile of manure with a big splut. And Rodrigo's father and his grandfather come out and they ask, oh my gosh, what happened? You've been fighting with this horse. And Rodrigo says, well, I wanted to name my new horse, and this stupid horse wouldn't let me, and we got into this big fight. And then Rodrigo's father starts to laugh and says, well, don't you see? This is your new horse. And Rodrigo's like, I don't want this one. I want the other one, the big, the beautiful white one. And then Rodrigo's father says, son, wars and horses are both alike. You don't choose them, they choose you. Rodrigo looks at the gray horse, and the gray horse looks back at him, and they realize they're stuck together. Rodrigo says, harumph, and he names this horse Babieca, and the horse snickers. And for the rest of the story, Rodrigo and Babieca, his famous horse, go off on all these adventures together. And that was a really fun scene to do. It took a lot of time because drawing horses is really hard, but it was fun to sort of create a scene where you got to introduce this young hero and his famous horse, which become legend later on. And so that's one of my favorite scenes in the new book.
Look for the Kid Beowulf graphic novel series at your local bookstore or library, or check it out from the PCS Library this fall.